Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're making a pivot, a big one. If you've been following our breakdown of the Bhagavad Gita, you know the first 6 chapters are, well, basically a masterclass in self-discipline.
Exactly. Meditation, duty, how to fix the you.
But today, with chapter 7, the camera just pulls way back.
It really does. It's a massive shift in scope. We are moving from, say, the microscope to the telescope.
We're looking at chapter 7, which is titled Jnana Vijnana Yoga. And our mission today is to figure out why the text suddenly decides that all that self-help, it isn't enough.
Right.
We're moving from that internal war, the battle between our ego and the humble seeker inside us, to understanding the battlefield itself, the nature of reality.
And to do that, we've pulled from some pretty heavy-hitting commentaries, specifically the insights of Swami Sarvaprianda and also some structural breakdowns of the text, because this isn't just part 2, it's a whole new act in the play.
Let's talk about that structure, because I think it helps to visualize where we are. You've mentioned the Gita is kind of like a 3-act play.
Right, yeah. It has 18 chapters, and they're divided into 3 sets of 6. They're called shatakams.
Okay.
The first 6 chapters, the ones we've covered, are all about Tivam. That's Sanskrit for you.
The individual.
The individual. Who am I? How do I control my mind? How do I do my duty? All of that.
So Act 1 is fix yourself. It's the me thing.
The phase,
Yeah.
essentially. But, I mean, the problem is you can be the most disciplined person in the world and still totally miss the point of existence.
Oh.
You can have a perfectly tidy ego, but if you don't know where you fit in the cosmos, you're still lost. So Act 2, that's chapters 7 through 12, it shifts the focus to tat.
Peh, meaning?
Meaning that, but in this context, it means God, or, the ultimate reality. We stop looking in the mirror and we start looking out the window at the universe.
And just to close that loop, Act 3?
Act 3, chapters 13 to 18, is all about Asi. It means are, and it connects the first 2. Tat Tivam Asi, that thou art.
Ah, the big one.
It's the realization that the you from Act 1 and the God from Act 2 are, well, they're one and the same.
Okay, so we are entering the God phase. Now this chapter title, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and wisdom. I mean, in English, we use those words interchangeably.
We do.
He's a knowledgeable guy. He's a wise guy. Well, maybe not that kind of wise guy.
Most the mobster kind, no.
But we treat them as synonyms. The Gita, though, it draws a hard line between them.
A very hard line. And this is really the core of the whole chapter. Jnana here means indirect knowledge. It's intellectual. It's what you get from reading a book or listening to a lecture like this one or memorizing verses.
So knowing the definition of a proton is jnana.
Yep.
Knowing the chemical formula for water is jnana.
Correct. It's all conceptual. But Vijnana, that's direct realization. It's experiential wisdom. It's the difference between reading a menu and actually eating the meal.
The sources use a great analogy for this, the milk analogy. I thought this was just perfect because it's so simple.
It comes from Sri Ramakrishna. He says, imagine a guy who wants to know everything about milk. So he goes to the library. He reads that milk is a white liquid. It comes from cows. It's high in calcium, builds strong bones.
He could get a PhD in milk.
Exactly. He can pass any exam on milk. That is jnana.
But he's never tasted it.
Never. He's probably malnourished, even though he knows everything about nutrition. Vijnana is the person who, they may not be able to write the chemical formula, but they have found a cow, milked it, poured it, drank it, and felt their strength return.
It's a critique of academia in a way, isn't it? You can be a scholar of religion and have zero spirituality.
Absolutely. You can know the map perfectly and never take a single step on the terrain. The sources actually mention a joke about this.
Right.
The scholar, the one with jnana, reads that milk is white, but then someone comes and tells him, hey, I saw a red cow, so its milk must be red. And because the scholar has no real experience, he thinks, logically that follows. Red cow, red milk, I need to update my thesis.
Whereas the person who's actually drunk the milk, the Vijnani, just knows. It's white. You can't argue them out of it.
You can't. Experience gives you this unshakable conviction that logic by itself just can't provide. And this leads to an even more profound analogy in the text, the rooftop analogy.
It's what trips people up, I think. Can you walk us through it?
So imagine God ultimate reality is the roof of a building.
Yep.
You're on the ground. To get to the roof, you have to climb the stairs. Now, as you're climbing, you're leaving the ground behind.
Right.
You leave the first floor, the second floor. This whole process is called neti. Neti, not this, not that.
So this is the ascetic phase, right? I am not my body. I am not my job. I am not my bank account. You're rejecting the world to find the truth.
Exactly. You reach the roof. That's jhana. You've isolated the truth. You're standing on top, separate from the world down below. But if you stop there, you're only halfway done.
Only halfway. But you're on the roof, you made it.
You made it to the peak of isolation. But Vijnana, the fuller wisdom, that happens when you stand on that roof and you look back down. You look at the stairs, the walls, the ground, and you realize, wait a minute, the roof is made of brick and mortar.
Wow.
And the stairs are made of glim and mortar. The ground is made of brick and mortar.
Oh, I see. It's the realization that the stuff you rejected to get there is made of the exact same essence as the destination.
Precisely. The Vijnani realizes the world isn't something to be escaped. It's a manifestation of the very God they were seeking. So you go from detachment, pushing the world away, to enlightened engagement. You embrace the world because you see the divine in it.
That is a total game changer. It means you don't have to run off to a cave. You can be right here doing your job, dealing with traffic, but seeing the brick and mortar of the divine in everything.
That is the ultimate goal.
But that begs the question. If the world is made of this God stuff, what does that actually look like? Because when I look around, I see concrete, I see trees, I see, annoying people. I don't see divinity.
Well, the Gita breaks this down very technically. Krishna describes his two natures. First, there's a para prakriti, the lower nature. This is all the stuff we can measure.
A periodic table.
Basically, the text lists 8 components: earth, water, fire, air, space. Those are the physical elements.
Okay.
Then it adds mind, intellect, and ego.
Wait, so even my psychology, my thoughts, my ego,
Yeah.
that's considered lower nature. It's just matter.
Yes. In this philosophy, the mind is just subtle matter. It's mechanical. But then Krishna says, superior to this is my para prakriti, my higher nature. This is the life force, consciousness itself, the battery that powers the machine.
And the sources have this beautiful metaphor here, the string of pearls.
It's iconic. God says, everything in this universe is strung on me, like pearls on a string.
Okay, let's picture this. When I look at a pearl necklace, what do I see? I just see the pearls.
You see the planets, the people, the cars, the forms. But the string, the force that holds them all together, that keeps them from just scattering into chaos, is invisible. It runs right through the center of every single pearl.
So the claim here is that God isn't some distant clockmaker who built the universe and then just, went on vacation.
No, he is the tension holding the entire necklace together. If you cut that string, the necklace is gone. If you remove this higher nature, the universe collapses.
Wow.
And the text gets very poetic about where you can find this string. Krishna says, I am the wetness in water. I am the radiance in the sun. I am the heat and fire.
I am the wetness in water. That just stops me every time. Because we usually say water is wet. It's an attribute. But this is saying the wetness, the very isness of the water, is the divine.
It removes all the distance. God isn't up there. He's the essential quality that makes a thing what it is. You can't have water without wetness. You can't have existence without this divine principle. It's right here. It's in the glass of water on your desk.
So if this presence is everywhere, if the string is in every pearl, why are we all so miserable? Why is the world such a mess? I mean, if I'm made of divine stuff, why do I feel anxious and angry?
That is the million-dollar question. And Chapter 7 pivots here to a sort of a sociological breakdown. It asks, who actually looks for this string? Who turns to this higher nature? And Krishna categorizes humanity into 4 types of devotees.
I found this list so relatable. The first one is the Arda.
The distressed. Yeah, these are the people in the foxhole. Oh God, I'm sick, cure me. I'm in debt, please save me. They turn to spirituality out of pain.
Then there's the Artharthi.
The seeker of wealth. God, let my startup sell for $10 million. Please let me get that promotion. They want material gain.
Okay, and the third type, the Jidnasu.
The inquirer. These are the curious ones. They ask, what is the truth? Does God actually exist? They aren't in pain or looking for money. They just want to know.
And finally, the Jnani, the knower, the one who has already realized the truth. Now, I have to be honest, and I think a lot of listeners might feel this way. My first instinct is to judge the first 2 groups.
Of course.
Foxhole prayer guy and the make me rich guy. It feels transactional, like they're treating God like a cosmic vending machine.
It's a very common reaction. We think that's fake spirituality. But here is the expert insight from the commentary that totally flips that perspective. Krishna calls all of them noble. Udara is the Sanskrit word.
He calls the guy asking for a Lexus noble.
He does, and here's why. At least they are turning away from their small, limited ego and acknowledging a higher power. They have enough humility to say, I can't do this alone. And that's a massive step up from the person who just thinks, I am the master of the universe.
So it's better to ask God for money than to just be a cynic who believes in nothing.
Exactly. It's a start. However, the text is clear. The Jnani, the knower, is the best.
Why? What makes the Jnani better than, say, the curious person?
It's about why they love. The distressed person loves God for relief. The wealth seeker loves God for success. If they don't get what they want, they might stop loving.
Right.
But the Jnani loves God for the sake of God alone.
It's unconditional.
It's the difference between loving a friend because they have a swimming pool you can use and loving a friend just because of who they are. The text says that the Jnani is nitya-yukta, constantly connected. They don't just check in when they need something. They realize that their own self, their Atma, and the divine are not separate.
Speaking of that distinction, between knowing definitions and true devotion, there's a story in the source material we have to share. The story of the sweeper.
Oh, this one is beautiful. It comes from the life of the Holy Mother, Ma Sharada, who was the spiritual counterpart to Sri Ramakrishna. It takes place in her village, Jayarambati.
So set the scene. You have this humble sweeper. And we have to remember, in that social context, a sweeper was at the absolute bottom of the hierarchy.
Lowest of the low. And he's watching all these rich, high-caste, educated devotees come from the city to get blessings from the Holy Mother. These people had the jnana. They knew the scriptures, the rituals. They knew exactly what to say.
And the sweeper's just there, in the background, sweeping the dust. He's too shy to even approach her.
Right. But he has this deep, silent love for her as a mother figure. One day, he finally gets the courage to ask, "Mother, won't I get anything? All these people get mantras and blessings." And she just looks at him and says, "You just keep doing what you are doing here, and you will get everything."
Just keep doing what you are doing.
Fast forward years later. The sweeper is old, he's dying, he can't work anymore. The monks visit him in his little hut, and as he's taking his last breaths, his face just lights up. He starts talking to an invisible presence. He says, "Mother, you have come for me," and he passes away in total peace.
The monks were just stunned.
They were. Because this uneducated man had the vision that the great scholars were still struggling for. And it illustrates this key concept called Bhava.
Bhava, define that for us.
You can have the stream of knowledge, the Jnanadhara, that's the books. You can have the stream of action, the Karmadhara, the rituals. But the Bhavadhara is the stream of inner intent. It's the feeling, the authenticity. The text suggests that God is an essentialist. He doesn't look at your PhD. He looks at your Bhava.
That's incredibly reassuring. You don't need to learn Sanskrit to get it.
Yeah.
But I want to push back again. If God is the string in the pearls, if he's reachable by a simple sweeper, why is it so hard for the rest of us to see? Why does it feel like we are just sleepwalking through life?
The Gita anticipates this. It introduces a concept called yogamaya.
The veil.
Yes. The text says there is a divine illusion made of the three gunas, the qualities of nature, that hides reality. It's like a magic trick. The magician dazzles you with a flashy movement in his right hand so you don't notice what the left hand is doing.
The sources bring up a really good analogy for this using Gandhi.
Swami Ranganathananda brings this up. He asks us to imagine looking at Mahatma Gandhi in, say, 1940. If you looked at him with just your physical eyes, what did you see?
You saw a frail, skinny old man in a loincloth. I think the source quotes Sarojini Naidu, affectionately calling him Mickey Mouse because of his big ears.
Exactly. Physically, he was completely unimpressive. If you judged by the casing, you'd dismiss him. But you would be missing the invisible force, the satyagraha that was single-handedly dismantling the British Empire. You miss the power because you're fixated on the package.
And the text says we do the same thing with the divine. We see the casing, the world, the conflicts, the bills we have to pay, and we miss the current that's running through it all.
But why do we fixate on the casing? The Gita gets very psychological here. It identifies two main culprits, raga and devesha.
Likes and dislikes.
Attraction and aversion. We are constantly being pushed and pulled. I want this, which is craving, and I hate that, which is fear.
It's like we're pinballs in a machine.
We are. And scientifically, think about your brain. If you are terrified of something, or if you are obsessed with craving something, your focus narrows. You get tunnel vision. You literally cannot see the whole picture. You can't see the string. You only see the pearl you're trying to grab or the pearl you're trying to run away from.
That's a powerful takeaway. So true clarity, true wisdom, it isn't just about reading more books. It's about the ability to stand still, to resist that urge, to run toward what looks good or run away from what feels bad.
Terrifically put. If you're always running, the scenery is just a blur. You have to stop to see the string.
So let's say we do stop. We quiet the raga and dvesha. What's the end game of Chapter 7? What is the final realization?
It is summed up in one Sanskrit phrase. Vasudeva sarvam iti.
God is everything.
Vasudeva is all. The text says it's extremely rare to find a soul who realizes this fully. It usually takes many, many births. But it offers two ways to look at this realization, depending on your personality.
This is the difference between the head and the heart approach, right?
Exactly. From the Advaitic or non-dual perspective, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti means God is the only existence. The classic example is the rope and the snake.
Right, you're walking in the dark, you see a snake, you panic, your heart races. But then you shine a flashlight on it, you see it's just a rope.
The snake never existed. It was an illusion. The rope was the only reality. So in this view, the world as we see it is the snake. God is the rope. The world is an illusion. Only the divine is real.
That's a bit cold for some people. The world is fake.
It can be a little dry, but the devotional perspective takes the exact same phrase, God is everything, and makes it warm. It says, my beloved is everything. It's not that the tree doesn't exist, it's that the tree reminds me of God. The river reminds me of God.
Like the stories of the Gopas, the cowherd girls, in the Krishna myths. They didn't just see a forest, they saw Krishna everywhere.
Exactly. It changes everything is an illusion to everything is sacred. Both paths lead you to the same freedom, one through wisdom, one through love.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. We moved from Jnana, just reading the menu, to Vijnana, actually eating the meal. We dismantled the universe and found it was pearls on an invisible string of consciousness.
We saw that even the quote-unquote selfish prayers are a starting point, but the real goal is that unconditional love of the sweeper.
And we identify the enemy. Yogamaya, that magic trick fueled by our own endless cycle of likes and dislikes.
It's a dense chapter for sure, but the message is incredibly practical. It's all about shifting your vision from the surface to the substance.
So to our listener, the learner out there, this isn't just about ancient Sanskrit verses. This is a challenge. When you turn off this deep dive, look at your life. Are you letting your likes and dislikes drive the car? Are you just looking at the pearls, or are you maybe searching for the string?
And here's a final provocative thought to leave you with. The sources mention a verse where God says he knows everything, past, present, and future. But then he adds this chilling line, but no one knows me.
That's haunting.
It is. It suggests that the divine is playing a game of hide and seek, hiding in plain sight behind the boredom and stress of your daily routine. So the question is, if God is the wetness in the water and the heat in the fire, what would it take for you to spot the string inside the pearls of your Tuesday morning commute?
Something to mull over.
Yeah.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time for Chapter 8.